Hi, Andrew, how are you?
Hi, Diraj. How are you?
All good. Yeah. Some people already waiting, which is always good to see.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Enthusiastic people are ready.
Um, Okay, we'll start in 2 minutes. I think essentially the flow remains the same for this one.
Yep.
Might do some modifications for the next one, but this one essentially remains the same. We just added an extra poll in there. I'll start with the video,
Yep.
like we did. Let me check if everything is going on. Can you hear the audio?
Yeah. Good. Yep.
Okay, that is good. Then we will move to the presentation. I've got two polls that I have added in this presentation. I just wanted
Great.
to show you those. One was just to understand who's the target audience for us.
Perfect. Yep. Great.
And the second one is what's your biggest IB mathematics challenge today? And this is the question that we asked last time, but we didn't ask the audience one. So then we talk about
Okay.
key features. That's you.
Yep.
Get started with a 2-month trial. And that's it.
Great.
So we've got 18 people in the meeting. Let's start with the video. I'll let them in.
Cool.
Imagine if, all day, every day, you wrote mathematics problems.
I'm thinking about mathematics all day.
At least 8 hours a day doing maths, sometimes more.
8 hours a day doing maths.
I think about maths all day, every day.
7 or 8 hours a day.
Actually, now it's not maths today.
We have 20 people in a team, and they're from all different backgrounds.
I'm a mathematician and a physicist.
Maths researcher and lecturer.
I'm a mathematician.
High school maths teacher. Civil engineering.
High school maths teacher. Pure mathematics.
And each day, we're crafting mathematics questions for students across the globe. Even for us, it's incredible just how much work goes into creating each and every question.
Before we can start working on a particular question, we have to know what type of question needs to be written.
We sit down and look at the curriculum requirements first of all.
Someone will write up a draft of the question, what they think it's going to look like.
Usually we try and determine what the default path is going to be for solving the question, and then we will think about all the different creative ways that people might approach the question in other ways.
Lots of forks in the road that a student might come to a point where they can go in this direction or that direction, and it's up to us to guide them through that process.
And for each path, there might be as many as 10 hints.
Lastly, once all the steps and the hints are in, they'll try and test it and break it, see if there's any steps that are missing or any bugs.
The incredible thing is that all this energy goes into every single question we make.
So I love working for Mathspace because I love maths and I love helping other people understand my passion for maths and sharing that knowledge.
Instead of teaching 30 kids, I'm teaching hundreds of thousands.
Because I get to work with really cool people doing what I love.
Because I know that I'm making a difference in students' lives.
It's just great fun.
Hi, welcome everyone. Good evening to all of the educators, school leaders, education consultants and resellers who have joined this session. Thank you so much for sparing time. I know it must have been a very long day after a tiring school day and handling all of the kids and challenges within the institution. Thank you for sparing time and making for this session. Today's session is especially focused towards IB mathematics. How can we contribute to the transformation of it? We'll talk in detail about this special product that we have today called Mathspace. And we are going to discuss more about this product. Before we get into the product itself and the presentation that I have prepared for this session, I would love to know who you are, where you're from, and what is your role, and which institution do you work for. We would love to understand who are you guys. You can put that in the chat. My colleague will share a short template. For that, please share with us your background. I am Dheeraj Trakru. I am the founding director of India Market Entry and Neutral Trainings. And I have with me all the way from Australia, Andrew Martin, who is an educator, ex-educator who is now a part of Mathspace team. And he's joined in late evening, all the way from Australia, joining in us to showcase the platform and the product itself. All right. As far as the structure of the session is concerned, we would do a short presentation for about 10 minutes before we dive into the demo or the platform demonstration that Andrew will showcase. Post which we have a dedicated slot for question and answer, and where we can interact with each other. You will be able to unmute yourself and talk to us, and we can discuss any doubts or questions that you have about the presentation. But I would, motivate you, and I would like you to share any question that pops up in your mind in the chat itself, so that our team here would be able to answer those questions on the fly. All right. And if we are not able to answer those questions in the chat, we will definitely take it up towards the end of the session. Do hang on to this session and stay there till the end, because we are giving away the platform access to, especially to IB teachers and Cambridge teachers, as well as to some CBSE teachers, if they're interested. We're giving away the platform for almost 2 months. So we'll show you how you can get that from us. So please stay tuned in the session. So let me begin with my short presentation. All right, so let's begin with a quick poll to actually understand, the target audience that we have today. Who are the participants, and what are we looking for? 1 second. Here we go. You will see on your screen a pop-up that is asking you a simple question: what describes you the best as? And IB maths teacher, school coordinator, management personnel from the school, tutoring center owner, tutor, reseller, distributor, or even an education consultant would do. Right. I would request everyone to answer this question. It would be great to see all of you participate. I see almost 50% have already answered. I would request everyone to please contribute to this poll. Would love to know your background. I see a lot of IB Maths teachers join in. Thank you so much for joining in today. I am pretty sure you will love what you see in terms of the platform that we are going to showcase. We are seeing tutoring centers also, tutoring center owners and tutors join in. Thank you so much for joining in. We request all of you to please contribute to this poll quickly. It's just a single choice. You can just pick up one choice and we'll be ready to go to the next slides. All right. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. I'll be sharing the results of the poll with you. Here it is. So we're seeing majority of them from IB Maths background and maths teaching background, as well as tutoring center owners being second. Great to see you all. Welcome. Welcome to this session. Let's go to the next bit. Right. So what is exactly Mathspace? Mathspace is a globally trusted adaptive maths learning platform that was founded in Australia in 2010, almost about 15 years, 16 years ago, with a simple but powerful mission to ensure that every student can excel at mathematics with the right help at the right time. Think about the best maths tutoring experience: one-to-one attention, instant feedback. When you make a mistake, guidance is there throughout each step of solving the problem. Mathspace was built to replicate the experience at scale, and that too using technology. Today, Mathspace is currently being used in more than 8 countries and impacted hundreds of thousands of learners worldwide. In fact, over 725,000 students are actively using this platform globally. What makes Mathspace particularly relevant for all of you is that it is fully aligned to the IB curriculum, both to the middle years program and to the diploma program, including both analysis and approaches, as well as application and interpretation pathways, right, at a standard as well as higher level. And I'm excited to share that Mathspace has now launched in India through neutral trainings and India market entry. We are the exclusive partner for bringing this powerful platform to the Indian IB schools, and we are here to provide you with complete local support for implementation to training to ongoing assistance. Research shows that students using Mathspace for 17 to 30 minutes weekly are 86% more likely to achieve proficiency. Overall, we have seen that the proficiency increases by 53% in students that are using Mathspace. And we have seen also, increase in about 66% of the students that are non-proficient generally. And over 70,000 interactive practice questions are in the database. These aren't just numbers, marketing numbers. This is evidence-based research showing measurable improvement in the student outcomes. Now, let me walk you through a couple of the features. And before I do that, I have another poll. I would love you to answer this as well. So I want to ask you, what is your biggest IB mathematics problem today? So a poll will show up on your screen just now. All right. So what is your biggest IB mathematics challenge today? Is it finding qualified IB maths teachers? Is it balancing AA and AI streams? Is it differentiating for mixed abilities? Or is it managing assessment and IAs? I would request everyone here to please contribute. What is the biggest IB maths challenge that you guys are facing today? It's all contextual. There is no wrong answer. So I'd request everybody to please choose the answer and contribute to this poll, and let's make this session as engaging as possible. So I'd request you to select the answer that is contextually correct for you. We are seeing that people are choosing differentiating for mixed abilities. And then the close second is finding qualified IB maths teachers. All right. Request everyone to please participate. We're seeing about 42% people who have participated. I would request everyone to please contribute. Let's make this session engaging, guys. Come on. All right, we're seeing some more answers come in. All right, it is all differentiating with mixability, seems like, is winning as the biggest challenge today. I request everyone to please contribute. All right, thank you. I'll be sharing the results here. So we're getting almost, differentiating for mixed abilities is the biggest challenge that everybody's facing. And number two is finding qualified IB maths teachers. And let me now talk about the key features of Mathspace itself. What truly sets Mathspace apart from other maths platforms is, the 5 pillars of Mathspace experience. Feature number 1 is the step smart feedback. First, we have, step smart feedback. Unlike most maths platform that only check the final answer, Mathspace provides step-by-step guidance at every point of the problem-solving process. All right? When a student actually makes an error, whether it's in step 2 or step 5 of the problem, they receive immediate feedback on the specific mistake. This is revolutionary because it catches misconception at the moment they occur, not after the student has already gone down the wrong path. Right? You can think of this like having a tutor looking over the student's shoulder constantly and saying, wait, let's look at this step again. Rather than just, making the final answer and saying, this is wrong. Feature number 2 that we have is Milo AI Assistant. Mathspace AI-powered assistant, Milo is represented as a friendly puppy, as you can see on your screen on the left-hand side. This character provides 24/7 supports to students with hints, explanations, and worked examples. Right? And what is special about Milo is that it is built on GPT-4 technology, but is specifically trained for mathematics education. It asks probing questions, provides contextually specific hints, and ensures students stay on track. Number 3 feature is the adaptive practice engine. This is this basically automatically adjusts the question difficulty based on each learner's progress. If a student is struggling, the system provides easier questions to build confidence. If they are excelling, it challenges them with more complex problems. And this is true differentiation at scale. Something that almost impossible to capture for a single teacher, maybe addressing 15, 20, 30 students in a traditional classroom setting. Feature number 4 is complete IB tools, right? So this means curriculum aligned online, offline resources specifically mapped to IB, MYP, and DP requirements. Teachers get printable worksheets, lesson content, interactive applets, and worked examples with video solutions. That's right, video solutions with worked examples, and comprehensive teacher guides are provided. Everything you need for IB mathematics in one place. You don't have to have multiple platforms to do it. Finally, the 5th one is actionable insights, right? And this is basically the classroom dashboard and analytics. Teachers can monitor student progress in real time, identify struggling students before they fall too far behind, and even get specific recommendations like top 5 questions to address based on the class performance. This is detailed, reporting and tracking progress down to individual curriculum outcomes. Yet, this is presented clear enough, and I'm sure Andrew will show you that. So without further ado, let me introduce the incredible teacher that we have, an educator that we have from Mathspace, who has joined us all the way from Australia today. Andrew Martin is an EdTech consultant at Mathspace and a former IB Maths teacher. Andrew brings over 17 years of experience of classroom teaching from diverse school environments, both in Australia as well as in the UK. What I actually find particularly compelling about Andrew is his perspective, is that he's been a Mathspace user since 2014, long before he actually joined the company. He has experienced the platform from the teacher side and now helps teachers and educators internationally maximize its impact. He will show us exactly how Mathspace works in practice and how it can help you to transform your IB mathematics program. So let me hand this over to Andrew for the live demonstration. Over to you, Andrew.
Thank you so much, Diraj. And yes, it's a pleasure to be here all the way from Perth in Western Australia. Yes, as Diraj mentioned, I was a teacher for many years and I fell in love with this platform about 10, 11 years ago, and just found as a teacher it saved me a lot of time in terms of planning for student work, in terms of monitoring progress of my students and giving me those real insights into how they're performing. And also it really provided natural differentiation and a lot of support for my students that as a teacher, as one person in a room of multiple students, it's difficult to give that one-on-one attention at all times. So hopefully in my demonstration, I can show you some of the ways that I used Mathspace, and I help other teachers around different parts of the world to get the most out of using Mathspace as well. So hopefully you can see my screen now. I think...
Yes.
Let me know, Diraj, if it drops out or anything. But so I'll get straight into it. This is the landing page that a teacher would see as soon as they sign into their Mathspace account. And so on the left-hand side, you've got some menu items, and in the middle of the page here, you've got your classes. So if you're a teacher in a school, you might have multiple different classes that you use this platform for. And all of the information on how those classes are performing and the work that they're doing is located sort of in these files here. But as a teacher, I would always start off by going into one of our digital textbooks. So we have these interactive digital textbooks. And so once I click that tab, it takes me to the last textbook that I was in, which is an International Baccalaureate Middle Years Program textbook. And we have lots of different textbooks, obviously, to cater for all age groups and the extended students as well. So that's one of the other great things, is you can really delve down into the remedial side of mathematics, or you can really extend those top students as well. So for now, I'm going to focus on something fairly basic. As a teacher, I might be teaching a lesson today on something in measurement, perhaps area of triangles. And so I find that chapter in my digital textbook. And then as I move left to right, you can see at the top of the screen here, I've got two tabs once I open this chapter under area of triangles. So in the lesson itself, I've got some things that you might see in a typical mathematics textbook with some extra resources as well. So as I scroll, we've got some notes and some information, but we've also got some wonderful interactive applets here. So this is an example of the relationship between the area of a triangle and a rectangle and how we get the formula for the area of a triangle. So I might want to demonstrate something like this to my students, or ask my students to play around with it themselves to get that sort of visual idea of what's going on. We've got the same thing here for a different type of triangle, but as I scroll down, we have major ideas summarized, and then we have some example questions with worked solutions as well. Once we go a little bit further down, we'll see some actual practice questions where we can have a go at the problem. We can watch a video walkthrough of all of these practice questions as well. And so students can access this in their own time. So there's a lot of support available to them. Then at the top of the screen, to the right of the lesson tab is the questions tab. So now if I've gone about teaching a certain topic, in this case, area of triangles, I now want to give some practice to my students, I would come into the questions tab. And so under questions here, we've got actually two options. So I have some interactive questions, which I can set as an online task for my students to work on. I've also got this worksheet tab, which is a printable worksheet if I would like my students to work pen and paper. And there are different sets of questions as well. So if I focus on the interactive questions for a moment, I can use these to set a couple of different types of tasks for my students. As Diraj mentioned, we have an adaptive sort of focus at Mathspace. So one of the tasks that teachers really like to set is an adaptive task. And so what that will do is from this set of questions in this chapter, it will give the students all a relatively easy question to start with. And if they get it correct, perhaps they'll have one more. But if they're getting those easy questions correct at the very start, the Mathspace will start automatically generating more difficult questions for that student. Whereas if another student in my class is getting the first couple of questions wrong, it will keep regenerating the easier style of questions until that student starts to demonstrate some mastery of that. So that's an adaptive task that we can assign to our class. The other type of task is a custom task. And that's where I, as the teacher, would choose every single question manually myself. And so I can go down through my interactive questions and find questions I like and start to add them by clicking this little plus button in the bottom right of the question. And it starts to build a custom task. You can see one question up here over on the right and the little one over on the left as well, both sides there. That is my task being built in front of me. So as I scroll down, I might find some more questions I like. And the great thing again is if I want to practice the same skill over and over, I can add the same question multiple times and the numbers, the values in the question will randomize. So you can give the exact same type of practice, just with different values, if that is what you're after. And then as I continue down, I'm just going to find another type of question. Here we go. Okay, yep, this one looks good. So I'm going to add that one as well. If I click on the try question button, that I can demonstrate how to do this question for my students as well. And this will show me exactly what the students will see when they work on this type of question. So I'm going to just go down a little bit further. Here we go. So I'm going to try this question. So as soon as I click this try button, it's going to take me to the student experience now. So this is exactly what the students would see when I set a question for them. And I'll be able to demonstrate some of the support available to students as they go through. Now, obviously, this is a basic concept. This is purely for demonstration. We have all far more advanced topics and questions, everything that you need. I think in Mathspace, there's now, I think in the video it said something like over 35,000 interactive questions. I think now we're past 70,000. So lots of questions, all the topics you could want. But this is how the questions look to the student. So on the left-hand side, they have the question, and on the right-hand side, they have a lot of help options available. You, of course, have the ability to customize this and turn off these help options if you don't want the students to access it at a particular time. But it is really great at providing that support to the student if you can't be providing that support at all times. So if I'm not sure how to answer this question, I've got a lot of options here. I can get a video demonstration, a hint, another similar example as well. The other thing I can do is chat with the AI tutor back and forth as well. So I could ask the AI tutor to give me some assistance. I could say, how do I start this question? Okay, this question, and it should give me some advice. It shouldn't ever give me the final answer, but it should get me closer and closer and give me some hints there. Great question. To find the area of the triangle, use the formula. Okay, great. The other thing you can do with this AI tutor is you can ask it to simplify language, explain things in a different way. I can even do something like translate. So I can actually say, Milo, can you please translate the previous comment or message or response, I'll say, previous response into, and well, we can go Hindi, a language that I don't speak, but let's see if it actually works. So there you go. So the question's been translated for me into a different language. I'm not sure if that's totally correct, but perhaps someone else can be the judge of that. But yeah, so that's kind of the help available. But once a student is confident that they want to have a go at the question, of course, they can start doing so on the left-hand side here. And this is where you would see the StepSmart feedback that Diraj was speaking of before. So let's say that I start putting in some steps of working here. So I'm going to go, all right, half multiplied by base multiplied by the height. Okay, so this looks like a correct step of working to me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something in that's a little bit unnecessary. So I'm going to add in +1 - 1. So what Mathspace will do here is tell me that what I've done is mathematically correct. So it's a really powerful maths engine. So it's given me a green tick, but it's got this sort of dotted line around the green tick, which indicates that something's not quite perfectly right. It's not as simplified as it could be. So if I get rid of that unnecessary step there, what you'll see is I'll get a more solid green tick in the next part of that as well. And then if I get the question actually correct overall, so what have we got? 48, so 24, then I'll get a solid green tick as well. So that is something that really stood out for me using Mathspace compared to other programs, is that I don't just have to put in the final answer and find out if I'm right or wrong. I'm getting feedback every step of the way as I work through these problems. And I think that's really powerful for students. And as a teacher, I can actually go back through and see what my students have been entering every step of the way. The other thing, if I just go back to that question, sorry, that I forgot to mention, is that if students have write-on devices, they can actually do some working out by the sketchpad here. So if they click on the sketchpad, and I've just got a mouse, I don't have a write-on device, so it's a bit messy, but the student can actually, if they prefer, draw diagrams or enter some lines of working to help them do some manual work there. Okay, whatever it may be. Okay. So that's kind of looking at, so we've looked a little bit, so how you might want to use Mathspace to help you to teach a concept using interactive applets, using videos, using the notes and diagrams in the digital textbook here. We've also now looked at how we might go about choosing some questions to create a task for our students, or use the Mathspace-driven adaptive tasks. And so our students would obviously go away and practice and work on those questions. And then naturally, the next thing you would want to do as a teacher is review how your students have performed. And so this is something that Mathspace is really powerful with as well. So I'll go back to my landing page, and everything I did just then was in the textbook tab. But now if I wanted to look at my class reports tab, this is where I would find all the great information about how my students are performing. So I click on class reports, I choose the relevant class, and then I've got all of these different options at the top of my screen here. So the activity tab will show me how much work my students have been doing in a chosen time frame. For now, I'm just looking at the last 7 days, but you can alter that to be 14 days, 30 days, or a completely customized date range. And so you go down and see exactly how many questions the students have done, how much time they've spent working, etc. The planner is just showing us when tasks are going to be due. So I can see that today on the 22nd of January, there's a task solving equations that's due for this class. The Insights tab is a really powerful one, and I think Diraj mentioned that we would have on the Insights lots of information about the questions. Sorry, I'll go back. Now in this one, it's a little bit bare, sorry, at the moment, because it's the start of the year and this there's not a lot of student work. But in here, you would find the top 5 questions that your students have been struggling on. And then what you can do is actually present the questions and work through them as the teacher yourself to demonstrate, or you can actually reassign them back to your students as well. So the top 5 questions, if there's any particular topics that your students have found difficult, and then individual students who are excelling or in need of assistance, all comes straight to your screen there, so that you can intervene immediately as the teacher without having to spend all that time looking through your students' work. The Mastery tab is one that A lot of teachers have used in the past, perhaps not as much now. I'll come back to that perhaps if we have time, but the most important two are probably these last two, the tasks and the skills. So if I've set a specific task to my students, this is where I would come now to review how my students have performed in that task. So here's a custom task that I've created for some students on solving equations. And so I click on that and it opens up the task report. What I'm going to do is firstly just sort by completion here. So as I move down the left, I can see my individual student names in my class. I can see their level of completion with this blue bar and how many questions answered correctly, partially correct or incorrect, the overall result in the task and how long they've spent working on it. If I want to look into an individual student's work a little bit more closely, I can hit the drop down arrow and see every question in the task and how they've performed on the right-hand side. And then if I click on one of these ticks or crosses on the right-hand side, it will automatically take me straight to that student's workbook where it's all been automatically marked and saved, and I can see any misconceptions there. So for example, if I click on this yellow tick, I can go straight to this question, which the student got a partial correctness for. So I can see that they've just made a little bit of an error the first time they've answered it, but they've corrected themselves. And if I click through, I'll be able to see other errors as well. So in this question here, question number 4, I can see that the student has not expanded the bracket correctly. They multiplied the 3 in by the W, but not the -1 there. So you can go through in as much detail as you like, looking at what your students have done. The other thing you would potentially do here is look question by question instead of student by student and see which were the questions that gave my students the most amount of trouble. So as we go through, there's 6 questions in this task. If I filter now for correctness, I can see that question 4 was the most difficult question in this task for my class, and only one person has answered correctly, but a lot of students are getting it partially correct or incorrect. And so when I recognize that as the teacher, I can then hit the try button and demonstrate that again back to my class immediately. So again, I'm not manually marking, I'm not pouring through lots of work. It's all there for me, and I can immediately amend the situation by clicking the try button, or I can assign that question back to my students with the plus button here as well. And when I hit that drop down arrow, again, I get a list of which students answered correctly, partially correct, or incorrect as well. So really great detail on a specific assignment that I've given to my students. The last tab here in the class reports section is the skills map. And so this will give me a broader picture of how my students are performing generally, not in one specific task necessarily. So what I do now in the skills tab is I'm going to focus on the curriculum here. And what I can do is again, choose a date range. I'm going to go for the last 30 days and choose a grade level. And so perhaps I'll choose grade 8 level, and number is the strand or the overall topic. And what I can see, and actually perhaps I'll go to year 7, might see a little bit more data there. So if I've got a year 7 class, for example, and I want to look at in the last 30 days, what progress have they made or what progress have they achieved in number, I can see it right here. So again, my student name's on the left, and then on the right-hand side, their level of mastery based on this scale up here. So fully mastered, they get the star, and it's a 3, 2, 1 down the scale there. And so these are mapped directly to whatever curriculum I've chosen for this class. So given that I'm in Australia, I'm working on the Australian curriculum here. So for squares and square roots in grade 7 in Australia, I can see exactly which students have mastered that and which students might be struggling. I'm just going to take my date range back a little bit further just to show another little feature as well. So if I go, let's say from August last year all the way up to today, what I can see is if I choose a relevant date range where there's been some growth or change, I can see that in this report as well. So not only do I get the star or the 3 or whatever number, but in the date range I've chosen, I can actually see the change in the student's mastery in that time. So this student, Eric, has reached a level 3, which is proficient on our scale in this particular skill. but they've also increased that by 1 place in the time frame I've chosen. Okay, so really powerful overall map of your students' strengths and weaknesses, their growth, how they're performing overall. And then, of course, you can click on an individual student and go really granular with the detail about how they specifically have performed on different topics at different grade levels. So again, if I choose this date range, so August up until now, the grade 7 skills, I now have all the strands to look at. I can focus on algebra, and then let's look at linear and non-linear relationships. I can see that this student, in the time frame that I've chosen, initially had only fully mastered this one curriculum outcome, but they've increased in a couple of them as well. So they've moved up 3 places in this outcome, 2 places in this outcome, etc. So really powerful feedback to understand about your students, and if your school shares this information with parents and things, it's really powerful to show in those situations as well. Okay, so Diraj, that's kind of the main things I wanted to show from the teacher side of things. Did we want to have a quick look from the student side as well, or how are we going time-wise with that? So, Diraj, I just wanted to check in. Is that okay? Would you like me to keep going and have a bit more of a look on the student side, or are we?
Of course, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure. I just wanted to be conscious of time. Sorry, I didn't want to take too much of the meeting. But on the student side of things now, there are some really great features as well that help the students with that, again, with differentiation, but also with an individualized path for your students. So there's a lot going on the student dashboard. This is what they see when they log in. So there's some fun sort of gamification features, but they can also see if they've been assigned work and if they've got recommended practice. Now, usually every student would have some recommended practice there. So I'm actually just going to toggle my settings for one moment just to make sure that I can show you what it looks like. So this is a student who's in year 10. And if we go to our skills map, what you can do as the teacher is instruct your students to pick a topic to be the focus topic. And so you can hit that little bookmark there to make that the case. So whenever the student now logs back in, okay, they've got some recommended practice sitting there for them. So even if a student has finished all of their set work, they're never totally done. There's always something that they can work on. So they'll get recommended practice from the focused topic, but it'll be pitched as closely to their level as possible that they've been demonstrating. Anything that the teacher has assigned to them will show up here on the dashboard as well. They've got a leaderboard to show who's been earning most points for the week in the class. They've got a shop where they can use some of the coins that they've earned by working. And then there's also individual and class challenges where if they get a certain number of points, they get some rewards there. But the other thing that's really great about Mathspace from the student perspective is you can actually assign as many different textbooks as you like to your students. So this is an example of a Western Australian Year 9 student, and so they've got the relevant textbook applied to them, but they can also have all of these other ones. So they've got a Year 10, a Year 8, Year 9, a Year 11 book, even down as far as Year 3 grade. So many different textbooks available to them. So that's great for advanced students. You can really extend them in that regard. But the other thing I wanted to show in the student side when they're looking at their digital textbook is if the student finds a topic that they have been working on. So for example, this student has been working on some area questions here. When they open up this chapter, they have a few different tabs. Now they can see the lesson just like the teacher would with any notes and diagrams and examples and things. They can also see the interactive and pen and paper questions that they can self-start work on. But these are relatively new tabs, which are really exciting. So my activity will actually show the student every question that they've worked on in this topic and their level of success. Anything that they didn't answer completely correctly, they have the ability to hit the revise button and try that again. And then you can see here that this student has 3 questions that they have the option of revising. So in the revision tab, just to the right of that, those questions are all put together and they can start a revision workout just by clicking that button. So this is personalized to the individual student. So again, every student might get different things wrong, but this gives them the ability to immediately amend their own personal mistakes without you as the teacher having to uncover where their areas of weakness are or things they've done wrong. And so going back to the student dashboard now, I will look into the skills map a little bit here now as well. So either by clicking view skills map here or at the top, clicking on the skills tab. This is another way that Mathspace is really personalized to the individual student. So this shows the skills map and the progress the student has made in mastering all of those skills up to their current year level. So this is a year 10 student. And as I scroll down in number, I can see that the purple line around the outside of the circle there is quite full. So they've mastered quite a lot of the skills. As I move down in algebra, there's probably a little bit more work to do there. And the student can click on any substrand area that they want to work on. And it will take them to, again, their recommended practice, or they can move down and choose a particular skill to practice or do a check-in on, which is like a little quiz to assess their mastery. The other thing you can do in the skills map is, instead of looking sort of topic by topic, you can actually drill down to every single individual skill. So I think this is really powerful. So every individual, again, has their unique skills map. And so for this student who's in year 10, we can see that they are proficient in this number skill that's relevant to their year level, but I can also see that there's a couple of gaps in their prior knowledge that they haven't fully mastered yet. And so we know obviously maths is the type of subject where we build on prior knowledge. So it's really important for those students to go back and see things that they haven't mastered. So for example, this student might hover over this 2, which is showing they haven't fully mastered this skill, and that's rounding decimals. So then they could click on that, do some practice on that skill, and during the practice workout, they have access to all the help options, the videos, the worked examples, the hints, and then they can do a check-in to reassess their mastery again, in which case they would not have access to the help options. So that's like a quiz environment. And so again, when I was using Mathspace in teaching, I would use this a lot. So I would obviously get the students to prioritize the work that I have set for them and assigned for them. But then once students have finished any assigned work or set work, I would encourage them to go through their own personal skills map and work on filling any gaps in their prior knowledge. Okay, so that's kind of 3 ways students can really show some autonomy over their learning. Is number 1, as I said, doing some recommended practice. Number 2, in the textbook, doing some personalized revision, okay, of the questions that they got wrong, not anyone else, just them. And then, as I just showed, working on completing their skills map as well. So some great stuff there, all of it that I loved using. And every term, I would actually get my students to take a screen capture of their skills map just so they can see their own progress and give them that motivation. So I love that personalization. I love that autonomy it gives, and the information you can gather as a teacher is super powerful as well. But yeah, so that is sort of both a little bit of a look at the student side and the teacher side. It's obviously difficult to show every single feature and every possibility that you can do on Mathspace, but hopefully that's given a few ideas and a bit of a snapshot at some of the key features.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for that detailed presentation and showcasing all of the aspects of the platform. I'm pretty sure all of the participants here, especially the IB maths teachers, would have loved what they have seen, and I'm sure they would also have a lot of questions around it. So please do share those questions in the chat if there are any, as well as we'll open up the session for Q&A shortly. Before we open up the session for Q&A, I wanted to talk about some critical aspects around Mathspace. So you might be thinking, this all sounds great platform, but does this work? Does this work in Indian context? The answer is yes. Yeah, we are proud to share that some of the India's most respectable IB schools are already using Mathspace with excellent results. For example, the Canadian International School, as well as based out of Bangalore, one of the India's premier international schools that have integrated Mathspace into the mathematics program. They have seen firsthand how the platform supports both the teachers and the students. Even the Srinagar chain of schools, known for its innovative approach to education and strong academic result, is using Mathspace to enhance their mathematics teaching and provide personalized support to students. These schools actually chose Mathspace because they recognize the value of, number one, adaptive learning and step-by-step feedback that essentially improve the student outcomes at their schools. Right? They are now a part of the global community of schools achieving better results with Mathspace. And this is just the beginning. Our goal is to bring Mathspace to every IB school in India that really wants to transform their mathematics program. So how can your school or you get started? We have made it incredibly easy for anyone. We are offering all schools attending today, teachers attending today, a webinar only offer for 2 months free trial of Mathspace. No commitment, no credit card, nothing required. The process is simple. It is designed to let you experience the full impact of Mathspace with your own students before you actually make a decision. Step one is to actually schedule a 1:1 trial meeting with us, where we would definitely run you through the platform. And I'm sure you would have contextual questions that you might have. So we can show you around where you can find those features based on your specific needs, your curriculum requirements, and your goals. Then you will start using Mathspace. During this trial, you will have full access to Mathspace platform. There is no restriction. Teachers can assign tasks, track student progress, experience all the features that we have discussed today. There are no limitations. And then once the trial is over, expand it to school-wide. Right? If you love this platform, you love the experience of using this platform, we are confident you will, and we will work with you to roll out Mathspace across your school. But that's, there's no pressure at all. The trial is your opportunity to evaluate and make a informed decision. Right? So we believe so strongly in Mathspace effectiveness that we actually want you to experience it before you commit to it. That's the kind of confidence that comes from seeing thousands, if not hundreds and thousands of students succeed with this platform. All right, let me show you exactly how you can sign up for the trial. You can obviously scan this QR code, or you can find it in the chat. So there is a chat button on Zoom. In the chat, you will find that my colleague has already shared the link to activate the trial. All right, so you can click on that link. It's a simple form. Fill in that form. One of our team members will reach out to you, set up that 1:1 trial, show you the platform personally. Any questions that you have around it in terms of use case, answer those. So essentially, it's like a training on using the platform, and then hand over you then and there the demo credentials, right? So that you can start immediately using Mathspace in your classrooms. It's very simple. Fill in the form from the link that is given in the chat. You can click on that link. It's a simple one. It's a Zoho form. You can fill in that form and get started with the 2-month trial. And once you have completed the trial, we'll be happy to, we are pretty sure that you would love to, roll it out, not just in your classroom, but in every classroom in your school or your institution. So I request everyone to please click on the link and fill in the form. All right, so now let's open up the session for what we are waiting for, a Q&A. Right, so we would invite everyone to contribute and ask any and every question that they have around the platform and the usability of this platform or any topic, technical topic. You can now even unmute yourself and shoot that question right to Andrew and ourselves. Happy to answer those questions. There are some questions that we see in the chat. So Andrew, one, I guess you would be able to answer. Does the platform have manipulatives?
Yeah, so assuming you mean manipulatives as in things to demonstrate with, is that, I think that's probably what you mean. And yeah, so I'll just share my screen again. So lots of the different digital textbook chapters have.
Rani's saying yes. Yeah, that's what she means.
Yeah, great. So I've just opened up an example here. So this one is looking at sort of gradient. These sort of GeoGebra style applets. So you can, as the teacher, demonstrate how these things work, or you can actually get your students to use them as well. So yeah, there's lots of different ones that I've used before in certainly geometry and those type of topics as well. But if I go even something quite basic, so even you use equivalent fractions, for example. I know we've got one in here. So this one is, sort of looking at a fraction and then making an equivalent fraction with multiplication and then sliding one over the other to demonstrate that case there. So yeah, lots of the chapters in the digital textbooks have these tools. Not every chapter, of course, but it can really be a helpful thing.
Thank you, Andrew. So does that answer your question, Rani? And I think there was, right. So Priya is asking, what is the pricing for using Mathspace? Of course, we can definitely, talk about the pricing in the 1:1 trial as well. It really is contextual on how many students, classroom that you're going to implement across the school or your institution. It's very flexible with that. This is currently, we are giving away 2 months trial for you to try it. If you really like it, we'd be very happy to have that conversation with you. We can also have that discussion while we're doing the trial run for you. Somebody asked, will they be getting an attending certificate for the participants? No, Dr. Uday, that's not what we are doing for this session. I'm sorry. Right. So if any other questions, it will be great to answer those. You can unmute yourself or put your question in the chat. Please share. Hi.
This is Kulsum here. So basically, I tutor students online. Some of my students are in Netherlands, so majorly IB, some in IGCSE. I'm focusing on IB here, to be honest. And some in Australia, England, UK, but they're still in IB. So the thing is, some are in MYP 4, some are in MYP 2 and MYP 3 as well. So is there a way that I can go about creating individual portfolios or, success record or of how the things go per week and what is their achievement or how much have they learned, if they've met or complete, if they've met their learning objectives. So is there a way that I could track individual students without comparing, because I want to keep it personal. So I don't want one student to look at another student's score. Like I have 7 students of MYP 4 who I teach. They're of the same school, and it's by word of mouth or recommendation. It's just that I teach 7 students of the same school of the same class, but I don't want them to because one student is probably a little better or his level of understanding is different to another. So I don't want it to be revealed to others. So is there a way that we can go about it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. And so there's a couple of ways you can do it. Firstly, you can turn off the leaderboard so that it's not visible to students on their end. So you can obviously do things like that to help out. But other than that leaderboard, the students would never really see other students' results. It's only the teacher who can see everything. But then if you really wanted to customize things to the individual, you could actually put different individuals in different classes. So you could create a class for an individual student, create another class for another student or another two students. So they're all sort of locked into their own programs and things like that. But yeah, so definitely some workarounds and ways to deal with that.
Okay, so if I'm not wrong, just like we create Google Classrooms, a different one for each student is what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. You can.
Okay.
That is an option. Yeah.
All right, thank
And
you.
like Andrew said, one student cannot see other students' progress anyway, even if they are in the classroom. The only way they can do that is through leaderboard.
Leaderboard.
And the leaderboard can be turned off and on based on what you want.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So no problem.
Any other questions anyone has, please feel free to share.
I'm sorry, it's me again. So we get 2 months of access is what you were mentioning. Does it give us the same kind of
Full access. Full access.
Okay, so this is what we would get when we subscribe, is it right? Okay, all right.
Yes. Full access with no restrictions.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Adna, please.
Yeah. So I'm not teaching in any of the school. And when I'm filling the form, it's mentioning you have to give the school organization name and where you are teaching. So I teach I take my own classes. So there are students from IB board, like 2 to 3 students are there. So can it be useful for me? Or can I enroll in this Mathspace?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Yeah.
But when I'm filling the form, it's written star. It's asterisk is there, right? So it's important to mention the school organization and something like that.
Yeah, you can mention your institution name, your whatever institution you're running currently.
Okay, all right.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Hi. As we're using the platform, in case we are, we need some guidance on how to go about it. Because I remember last time I tried logging in, I had like the 3 days trial, but then I had a small introduction, but then when I actually got, looked into it, I completely was like not very clear of how to effectively use it. Will there be, is there a video or something in case we stuck up or something that would help us lead through the platform?
Yeah, there are a couple of little videos that might help. There's also help articles and some documents that you can read through that give some advice as well. But then, yeah, I'm also available for assistance and training and meeting with teachers and things as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Right. Any other questions? And the ones that are convinced that this is something they want to, pursue further, I'd request them to click on the link that has been shared in the chat. I've shared it once again. Click on that link and make sure you fill in the form. And yeah, we'll share it with you. And somebody asked the question about the recording, and the recordings will be there and will be shared with everyone. Please fill in that Zoho form and get started on the trial. Set up a call with us. We will demonstrate the platform and we'll take it further from there. Any other questions? Anybody has? Please feel free to share. All right. I think no more questions from here. Let's, then we'll switch off the session today, and we'll see you next month on 5th of February. If you would love to join the session again, we'll be happy to entertain. How to go ahead? Anand sir, you can only click on the link in the chat and fill in the form, and we'll get in touch with you. If you're asking about the video recording, that will be shared with you automatically through the phone number that you have as well as email. All right. Thank you, Rani, for attending the session and interacting with us. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining in and sparing time this evening. We know it has been a long day for all of you, so we'll let you go now. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, and Andrew, good night.
Where are you based?
Good night.
Sorry, Anand sir?
Where are you based?
Mathspace is based out of Australia, and India Market Entry is based out of Delhi NCR.
Delhi where?
Delhi NCR in Faridabad.
Achha. Okay. So your office is in Faridabad. Which
Yes.
sector?
14.
Okay. What's your good name?
Dheeraj.
So you are coordinating the Faridabad branch?
We are not a branch. We help Mathspace. We represent Mathspace in India. Anand sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked for some school something earlier?
I worked for school, no.
Okay. Okay. Fine,
No.
thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Any other questions? All right. Perfect. Take care. Bye-bye.